Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Morning, Bellows, Falls, and Rockingham, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. First feed of August. It's amazing. August 3rd, here we are. Voting next week. Don't forget, because we won't have a chance to
Tuesday,
talk
right?
about that
Tuesday.
before then. So get out and vote next Tuesday. But local events.
Local events. So at the movie theater this week is Bullet Train, and Sean's going to talk a little bit more about that when we get to his segment. It's going to be playing for 2 weeks. Very exciting. The classic movie is part of the diversity series. It's called In the Heights, which I believe was a play then made into a movie. Is that correct? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
And that's tickets for that movie are only $3. So total bargain tonight for classic movie. The big thing coming this weekend is the 45th annual Rockingham Old Home Days. They're back, and they're back in pretty much full form. And I want to give a huge shout out to both the chamber director, Deb Collier, and her board of directors, because I think in looking at the events list, I think they've done an amazing job in coordinating with other entities and in having a lot of something for everybody. So one of the first things that they have going on is on Friday, there's going to be a family carnival at the rec department. So that's something for, I think it's mostly for kids, but maybe some adults could go to if they wanted to. So that's from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. family carnival at the Rockingham Rec. At the Moose, this is definitely for adults, is going to be country line dancing. So that's going to be happening, all ages welcome, $10 a person from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Bellows Falls Moose. And I think we have a poster for that with those two things, I believe. If we want to put them up. And then on Saturday, bringing back the Bring It Home 5K run. It's going to be a little bit different this year. It's actually going to start and end at the Rockingham Rec Department. So it's a start and end. There's plenty of parking. It's not a lot of, you don't have to cross any major intersections on this one, which is nice. So that's going to be a good time. $15 registration, 7 a.m. to 7:45, and then the race will start at 8 o'clock. Fire department is having their annual cookout, and that's happening, and a boot drop. So if you're driving through town, they'll be having their boots out, and you'll need to be dropping between 9 and 2. And the fireworks are coming back this year. So the fireworks will be happening at 9:30. There'll be some bands playing down at the Waypoint Center throughout the day. And then to finish off the night at PK's, Intercept is going to be playing. So you know there's going to be fireworks inside and outside. So that's pretty much the rundown. There's many other things. I just kind of highlighted the kind of something for everybody things, but there's lots of other things going on. Jazz at Flatiron, farmers markets happening. There's a community cookout at the Baptist Church. And then on Sunday, there's the Rockingham, the annual pilgrimage. And so that's my quick rundown, because I know Sean has a lot to talk about. So.
I have one thing for bluegrass fans. There's a free bluegrass concert tomorrow night, Thursday night, in Chester on the Chester Green, and it has a band called the Bluegrass Pioneers, but it's made up of the members of Banjo Dan and the Midnight Plowboys.
Oh, you that's a blast from the past name.
Yeah,
you have videos of them. Yeah.
So anyway, might be worth seeing, and it's free. It's 6:30 on the green.
Nice.
But let's move on to Sean.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me on a second time. I was really hoping to be able to finalize a few things for MSA, but then also jump in and talk about stuff that we have going on at the Opera House. So first off, I'd like to thank the sponsors from our production that we just had for Alice, which is the Bellows Falls Opera House, for helping with the on-screen advertisements that we were able to do there. Deb Roberts with Remax Upper Valley Partners Real Estate. Grassroots Fund, which is a nonprofit grant that we were able to acquire to help pay for some of the expenses of the show. Bobolink Communications and the Village Square Booksellers here in town.
Always helps out.
Yep, they're always awesome. And then our anonymous donors that we have a few of that don't want to be
that
pestered
want to
by
remain
everybody
anonymous.
else about becoming a donor.
They're smart.
Yes, yeah, but we're very grateful to them. The Alice show went over really well for the Friday production, but because of COVID exposure that night, the Saturday and Sunday productions actually were canceled. But a good number of the people that bought tickets donated their tickets or are looking for compensation through our digital copy, which Fact TV filmed during our tech week. So we're very excited about getting that out to the different people who are willing to allow their tickets to be represented that way.
And copies of the production, the digital copies, will be on sale to the public too.
Yes.
Because I talked with one of the camera people, and he said it was really going to be good.
Oh, good.
He really enjoyed shooting it, and he thought the actual production was fantastic.
Good, and that's awesome to hear. And it's good that we can try to make it as good of a product as we can when we actually do the film thing. And that's actually something that we hope to continue doing in all of our future productions that are allowed to do it. Because it really depends upon the show
copyright.
whether you're allowed to even film it. And those digital copies will be on sale online, and that will end up representing another form of ticket sales for us. So we're really hoping that people will not come out, but buy those in order to help us with the production, with this post-production sales.
Well, I think it's great because I think number one, you had a lot of people that wanted to see it anyway, so this gives them a chance to see it. And number two, I think there's probably a lot of people that wanted to see it but still weren't comfortable going to a theater.
Right.
So this kind of, in some ways, is sort of a win-win situation for folks because they can definitely see it and they can see it in the comfort of their home.
Yeah, it was a bummer for some of the families though that traveled to see their kids, but then weren't able to.
Yeah,
so we're definitely going to make sure we get these copies out to those different people. And MSA is currently looking for sponsors for our youth production, which is going to be happening this fall, which is called She Kills Monsters, and it's a play about a college girl whose family dies in a car accident, and then she connects with her sister who died through this Dungeons and Dragons game that her sister made before she died, which involved her older sister in the game. And so she has somebody run that game for her, and she ends up connecting with her deceased sister through this game, through the memories of her in that way. And so we're looking for sponsors for that production. It's not going to cost a whole lot, but there are going to be royalty costs and script costs that need to be covered. So we're hoping to find some sponsors
When
that
are
way.
you looking for the production of that?
The production will be right near the end of October. I believe it's the 22nd.
So people should reach out right away then.
Oh yeah, because auditions are happening this month on the 16th.
And best way to reach out if they're interested?
worldunderwonder@gmail.com, because that goes directly to me as the facilities manager. Then I can then take whatever communication and bring that to the board member who would have to do with getting checks to them.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And then when we're on to Bellows Falls Opera House now, because I'm the facilities.
Change
Yeah,
hats.
one hat off, another hat on. Facilities manager gone. Now we're talking about the special events that happen at the Opera House, and we've got 3 things that are coming down the pipeline. And one of which is on November 10th. We have the Comedy Divas, which is just a collection of comedians that are going to be performing that night, and we're really excited to bring them in because we found that so far comedy shows have been pretty successful at the Opera House. We had David Lynch in.
Maybe you were here. Did they come here one other time?
I'm not sure. If it wasn't during a time in which I was the special events coordinator.
Because there was definitely a female comedy troupe that came to Popolo. And did a live event in the Popolo ballroom, like the back, and they were hysterical. I mean, I'm just kind of plugging it. If it's the same group, and I have a feeling that it was because they're from like the Burlington area. They were so funny.
Well,
They
that's
really
what
were.
I've heard, that they're hilarious. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited, and like I said, comedians seem to do well at the Opera House. We get a good crowd for them. Then we've got on December 1st, there's the Rotary Holiday Show,
The Holly Jolly Follies.
Would you like to go into more detail about that?
I can if you want me to.
Because I don't have a lot of history of community, so it's wonderful when I have community members to
So
talk
it's-
about these
Especially
things.
the Rotary president.
Oh, okay.
See?
Then that makes a lot of
That's an
sense. Then.
inside scoop.
I'm a ringer.
Go right
Ringer on
ahead.
This one. So it's a collaboration with Wild Goose Players and the Rotary. It's a combination fundraiser. Wild Goose Players will be putting on a performance of holiday-related songs, and I'm not sure if we're going to go into the level of skits this year. I think it's mostly holiday-related songs. Last year we just did the Bellows Follies, but we didn't do it around Christmas time, so it was songs. And there'll also be a live auction, and there'll be some silent auction items, and all of the money goes to help Wild Goose with their productions, and then, well, it's a split. Half the money goes to Wild Goose, and then half goes to the Rotary, so that we can continue to do projects in the community. We've really moved more into a Rotary Club that actually is a hands-on doing actual projects versus just passing. We still fund and pass and pass money out and do scholarships and those type things, but we have a lot of hands-on projects that we do, and a lot of serve a lot of need in the community. Like coming up, we have all the school nurses have to have at the beginning of the year lots of underwear and socks and pants and changes of clothes and things like that. And a lot of times, unfortunately, they have a very small budget for it. So unfortunately, they oftentimes pay out of pocket. So we've been trying to, we funded it last year, and we're going to try to do it again this year. So those are the types of things that we do, and these are the productions, these are the things we do for fundraisers, and we try to have community events like the Holly Jolly Follies. And we love that the Opera House always works so well with us for the dates and the times and the ticketing, which you'll talk about later. We make it so easy for people to buy tickets. So awesome.
Cool. And then to connect in once again with Wild Goose Players, March 24th through April 2nd, that's their production of Urinetown, which will be happening at the Bellows Falls Opera House, and it's a musical. So this is going to be their second year of running a show here as Wild Goose, so we're very excited to have that again. Then when we're getting onto some of the gears of the Opera House, like the ticketing system that we now have and our website, the website is bellowsfallsoperahouse.org, and our ticketing software allows for people to be able to do pre-purchases of tickets rather than having to buy everything at the door. It makes things a lot faster because then you just have to show your phone and be like, I purchased tickets, okay, and then move on. You can even get concessions when you buy tickets for an event. You can purchase the concessions online, show them what it is that you bought, and then they can put it together for you. So we're hoping that a lot of people can start moving in that direction because, for one, it'll help us keep track of sales a lot more easily rather than at the end of the night everybody having to pen and paper type of thing. It's just there's a sheet that people can go to online, so it really helps staff out in that way, and also for the Opera House itself, the town, for keeping track of sales. And it will also speed up the process, because when we have a movie that is really popular and we get 150 people coming through the door and we only have 30 minutes to be able to get those people through a door, that's a lot of people per minute.
It is,
So
and it's not
5
like you have
people per
this
minute.
huge lobby.
Right.
Either, so
Yeah.
the more
Right.
people you can move through.
Right, and when people just have those sales, we don't have to be doing change transactions or a card transaction, which is even more difficult when it comes to doing that at the door. So we're really trying to push people to go through the website and to purchase there, and it'll also help us connect with the community more because people can then give us their information, and then we can reach out to you whenever we're doing events that might interest you. And so we're
And
really
it's-
hoping.
It's so easy. Like as far as buying tickets online, like your software is super slick and easy compared to sometimes like if you're trying to buy a concert ticket and you're trying to figure out what seats are available, what seats aren't available, and clicking on and all that stuff. And it's also nice from the perspective of people that are looking to do events, because you can do different price points. And we did that last year with the Bellows Follies, and what we found out is that, because we wanted to make it accessible to everybody, so we had a $10 tickets. I think we had $10 tickets, 15, 20, and 25, and sold hardly any $10 tickets. So probably this year, it didn't make sense, right? We didn't sell that many. So you can, it works on both sides of it's easier for the people coming in, and it's good feedback for both you and then for
Yes.
people coming in to
Yeah.
do productions.
That is a wonderful thing of the software that we have, is the feedback, the tracking of sales, those types of things, so then people can plan for next time and say, like, this is what worked, this is what didn't, and then it's just a really great system that we have built in there to help us really make sure that the special events that happen at the Bellows Falls Opera House can be as clean and clear as possible when it comes to everybody involved.
Right.
But yeah, so we've got the website, we've got the ticketing. The current movie is Bullet Train, and the only thing that I wanted to share about that is that, so this is a rated R film. Normally at the Opera House.
And this is the opening weekend.
Yes,
this is
of this film.
I mean,
we're not getting this one late
Yeah.
like we sometimes do with movies. So this is the opening weekend of it, and we're having it for 2 weeks. A lot of the time we don't show rated R films, and that's just because everybody comes out to see the next Disney blockbuster. Everybody comes out to see whatever family film is going on, but we don't always sell great whenever it comes
Right.
to these more adult-based films. And this one looks like a really fun Brad Pitt action movie.
It does.
Assassins on a train who are all mixed up trying to get their target. It looks like it's going to be a blast. I plan on going to see it, but if people want to see a more diverse group of movies coming into the Bellows Falls Opera House, then we need to have people coming out and supporting those different diverse films, so then that way we can feel more comfortable in saying, well, we've got a window here, let's put in another adult film, because we have a crowd that'll come out and support that. We need that in order for it to be a continued thing, or else we will just keep getting whatever the next Disney film
So
is.
Or the
please,
next
people,
Marvel
please,
film.
Right.
please come and support the other movies.
Which those are great.
They're great,
Like
but-
they're so much fun, but it's nice to have some change in there.
Exactly.
Some
Need some
diversity
variety.
and variety, exactly. So that's the next movie. And we're always looking for more on-screen advertisements. So if anybody is out there looking to try to advertise their business or their organization or whatever it might be, they can always come to myself, who then I can get them connected with Charlie Hunter to be able to then have their on-screen advertisements happening at the Opera
Right.
House.
And that's such a great way of advertising too,
Mm-hmm.
because at least for me, I go in, get my triple up, and then I'm watching the advertising
Right.
for the next 15 or 20 minutes. And so I'll see the same ads 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
So you get to really digest what's going on.
And
you get
everybody
yeah.
everybody experiences that. Like
Yeah.
everybody goes into the movies, you're there a good 15 minutes early and you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So like you're going to see it, and so there is a lot of benefit to those advertisements.
And they're not. Do you know the cost? I don't know the current
Off
cost.
the
or
top
not.
of my head, I don't.
Okay,
I didn't
I
write
that's
that
why
down.
I was
as something
hesitant to ask,
remember.
but as I remember, they're not,
Not really
horribly
much.
for the amount of exposure that you get.
Right,
Yeah.
hundreds of people will see it each
yeah,
month.
and for the fact that it's pretty easy, you can just put your business card up.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
have to. You can design something elaborate, or you can just have your business card, and it gets a ton of exposure.
And then we have our new lighting setup that is going into the Opera House.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, at this point we're kind of at a waiting situation because we're doing a bunch of work up in the ceiling in order to make sure that our structure is good and ready to handle the new equipment that is going to be going in, along with having the waiting for products to come in for
Yep.
those different
Yeah.
things, because that's just something that's happening now.
The new reality.
Right, the new reality. Like, you're just going to have to wait a little bit. And so we're waiting for that equipment to come in. But when it does, we're hoping that before Urinetown, at least, before the next big musical that'll happen here, that we'll have this new lighting setup built on the ceiling of the
Oh,
Opera
that'll be
House.
cool.
Yeah, it'll really up the professional stakes of our theater when it comes to both the lighting. We'll have a new lighting board, so we can create more interesting and dynamic lighting designs for whatever types of events come into the space.
Nice.
Then we've got one other event that is possibly coming into town on October 1st, which I'm having a meeting about with a couple of people. And this might involve Main Street Arts and might involve the Opera House and other businesses here in town, but it's It's kind of a community, another kind of community day, but it's focused around a train that would be coming into town for people to be able to check out. And it would have this train carnival type theme to it.
Oh, interesting.
And if we end up being involved, Main Street Arts, myself, will have a booth and we'll be running a magical murder mystery, kind of Harry Potter inspired.
Yeah.
You'll be a magical detective and you'll get a wand and you'll get a guide, and inside the guide you search around town for these clues, and we'll have projections ready and actors will be performing, and so they'll be mingling around town dressed up as characters inside of the thing, and you can question these people that you see, and the guide can kind of help you with figuring out what you're supposed to be asking people, and eventually you get these clues and it leads to the end of the story where you find out who the killer was.
Oh, that sounds
like
great.
fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, like kind of mixes murder mystery. You mentioned escapism,
Right,
or
right.
escape room before we started, and it has those types of vibes to it, and so it's a interactive theatrical experience that we'll be able to have happening during the event on the main street, and we'll try
Oh, that's a great idea.
involving some of the stores who might want to be open during that time as advertisement for people to have to come in during the clues and then jump around to other stores as well.
It sounds almost like, I don't want to date myself, but like Zelda, where you would go in and you would talk to somebody and they would give you a clue and then you move on to the next thing. I think Bellows Falls is like the perfect size village.
Yes.
I was just saying, they're
Because it's
doing the
really
same
walkable
thing.
and there's
It's
a
walkable.
lot downtown. This sounds like a great idea. I think of it. Yeah.
We'll be able to use alleyways and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like I want to do some things where we have like a projector and a screen set up at the end of an alleyway, so somebody would walk down, find something, and then a projection would start up on there, and then actors would be included in that. So then
Oh,
you'd see
neat.
some magic happening, and the whole idea would be that they'll be finding these memories through, and that's what the projections will represent when we have those set up. Like you will find a magical memory of what happened in this alleyway, and then you'll be like, okay, that's my clue, and then
Oh,
you have
that's
to.
cool.
So
Yeah.
it's very interactive theatrical experience.
Sounds fantastic.
Does
Well,
sound
you're going to have to come back on and talk about that when it gets a little
When we
more
get a little
firm.
closer, yeah, totally.
Yeah, because that sounds fascinating.
Maybe during the start of September.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
We're
good.
down to about 3 minutes. I do know you wanted to talk about the
Oh, yeah,
Friends of
that's-
the Opera House too.
Oh yes, we are always looking for more people to get involved in being part of the community that is the Bellows Falls Opera House, getting us a list of contact information, so then that way we can reach out to people in the community to let them know about what's going on at the Opera House. It'll also act as another level of financial support for the Opera House. It won't cost a lot, and we're just looking for people who are willing to become part of this, sort of like how the online advertisements or the on-screen advertisements help support us a little bit every month. Getting this community together, this list of people who want to be the friends of the Opera House, and then it makes your super ups a little bit cheaper, and we'll have other events
Yeah.
that possibly happen just
For
for
friends.
the friends of the Opera House. So we're looking for that to
And
be
how
a
would,
good thing.
if someone wanted to be a friend of the Opera House, how would they access that?
They could communicate with me once again at worldunderwonder@gmail.com, or they could reach out to over Facebook, the Bellows Falls Opera House over Facebook, or if they go on the website, there should be
Yeah,
a
because
contact
there's a
information.
Facebook
It is,
page
yeah.
now
Yes.
called Friends of the Opera House.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and they can communicate there, and the goal is just trying to form as large of a community as we can of people who are willing to support what's going on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key word is community. Is it takes a community to support these type entities. We're so lucky we have that Opera House.
Right. It
We're so
truly
lucky
is.
that we had a good entity, and that Rockingham Entertainment Development came in and wanted to kind of make sure it stayed as an active opera house and an active place to have these type events. So, you know, it's like anything when we talk about supporting local.
Right.
If you want something to be there, if you want first run R-rated movies to be there, if you want live productions and comedy and interactive, if you want all this, you have to support it.
If you want
You
a
don't have
movie
to support
theater
it
at all.
huge. You don't have
Yeah,
to. Like,
yeah.
it's not. We're not talking huge donors. Like, we're just talking maybe like $5 a month or $10 a month or something like that. I spend more money. I spend more money than that on coffee each week. So I mean, think about it.
That's
Like,
true.
you
That's
know?
true.
So.
And I
just-
think just kudos to you is
Yeah.
the other way of getting people to. One of the things you talked about before was you can't show a movie for a month at the Opera House because we just don't have the.
Right.
But you're doing such a diversity of things. You're doing movies, you're doing plays, you're doing live events. I mean, it helps create that kernel of people or that core of people that will support because they don't have to go to a movie 4 times.
Right.
They can go to a movie or a play or a comedy show. I mean, it's just amazing.
And we're really hoping that the live events can be a good, solid foundation in the community because with the way movie theaters are nowadays, it's tough to even get
Yeah.
some movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have had movies pulled from us because
Thor.
we
Yeah.
we didn't show it for 3 weeks.
I'll
So we're
drop names.
that is a sore spot for Mike.
I was
Apparently.
like,
well, that's the thing. Like with some of these movies, Disney specifically, if you don't show their film, sometimes for 3 weeks, they won't let you show it. And if you, sometimes we've even been rejected just because of the fact that we sell our tickets for so cheap.
yeah.
Wow.
I
That
mean, I knew there
alone
was a
can be-
controversy with Top Gun too, right? Yeah.
Yep. So it's pretty difficult keeping a movie theater alive nowadays, and so this is acting as, even if you wanted to think of it in the most basic terms, this is. I think you could think of it as like it is supporting the movie theater by having live events occurring as
yeah.
well. If you don't care about live events and I just want my movie theater, this has to exist
Yes,
in
Exactly.
order
for the
for
rest of it too.
right.
Yeah.
So that is
And I
it.
think we're out of time.
We are.
Colin shaking his head over there. So until next week, we'll see you. We're Mike
Bye,
and Barney,
Pete.
and thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and